Hello and welcome to episode 16 of My Imperfect Knitting Life. This is my space where I share my knitting, my mini commercial spinning mill, and sometimes a few things about what's happening in my life. If you're a returning viewer, thank you so much for coming back. I'm so sorry it's taken me a while to get onto this last episode, but honestly, I just don't want to do it unless it's spontaneous, and things got in the way of what I wanted to do, and life was really busy, so apologies. But I'm here again, and I really would like to catch up and let you know what's happening. So I think the last time that I did my podcast, I was about to go on holiday to Rarotonga, and we went away and we had a fabulous time. It was 10 days, and we were with Claire Marie and her hubby and their two little people, and stayed in a unit, and we each had our own room with an ensuite. We were a short walk to the beach, and we had a super time with them. One of the things with Claire Marie is that she doesn't live in the same town as us, and so we do see her a little less, and I often feel a little bit bad that we don't see her less. But it was so nice to hang out with her and her family, and spend that time with them, and also to be able to give them a little bit of time as a couple to spend together while we hung out with the grandchildren. So I'm not sure if you've seen, if you're from New Zealand, you know Rarotonga is actually quite close by here, and it is a little sort of tropical island. When you go there, you go back a day because you cross the date line, or yeah, I think it's the date line, not the timeline. And usually July, August is their dry season, but when we went, it rained, and it rained quite a lot. It was warm, but it rained, and we did some touristy things. We relaxed a lot, we read a lot. I did not take knitting. I planned to take knitting, but I didn't take knitting. So I did quite a bit of reading and a lot of nothing. We swam with the turtles. My best experience swimming with the turtles was actually seeing I don't know if it's a shoal or a school or whatever it is of eagle rays. That was lovely. And spending time with Claire Marie and her family. I keep saying it, but that's exactly what was so good. I mean, we've been there before, and I know that when you go there, there's not a lot to do. Literally driving around the island takes 40 minutes, 45 minutes. You can go on a scooter. There's a bus that goes all the way around. And surprisingly, or I should say not surprisingly, we bumped into somebody we knew, which happened to be somebody Roger knew for a change, and spent a bit of time with them because, you know, a lot of people from New Zealand end up going to Rarotonga. Anyway, let me move on. So past Rarotonga, I came back, and literally within 3 days, I was really sick. And when I say sick, I mean bedridden. I thought, oh my God, this is it. I've gone through the entire COVID period. I didn't get COVID, and now I've got it. But you know what? I didn't get it. The flu, plain flu. But I was bedridden for 5 days, and it still took me 2 weeks plus to feel kind of okay, normal. When I say normal, I still was very tired, so it took a long time to recover from that flu, but eventually I did. And you know, I was thinking about knitting, I was thinking about the mill. I really wasn't terribly focused about getting in the mill, but I was looking forward to Patrick, my son from California, coming over for a holiday. And then also Paul and Christine, which is Roger's sister and brother-in-law, coming over for his 60th birthday. And so I was pretty focused on trying to get the house organized. I was doing a little bit in the mill, but I also was acutely aware that, you know, I just really am at the point at 62, I can't do everything. I can't do the things that I used to do. And to be perfectly honest, I think last year I was pretty burnt out, and I didn't realize it until kind of towards the end of the year. But now I'm sort of recovering, and I think that being unwell, having that time to think, being on holiday, having that time to think, I really sort of worked through some of those processes. So I just knew that I had to take time. I couldn't really rush things. And so I'm really, really sorry that I haven't done a podcast. But like I say, it needs to be spontaneous. It needs to be from the heart. And this is what it is. So let me talk a little bit about my knitting. My knitting that I've done, I decided that I need to start knitting with my own yarn. So I've been knitting some lovely things for other people and some things for myself, but I haven't actually used my own yarn. And often when people kind of look at my yarn, they're like, okay, so what sort of patterns can we do, and what sort of size needles do you need? What length of the yarn is it? So I thought, okay, put your money where your mouth is, start knitting with your own yarn. So I did do that. And the first thing I knitted with my own yarn was this. And it is a garn vest. Garn is a vest by Ailbiona McLochlainn. And I'm going to put a little picture in now and a link. But basically it's a top-down vest. And she offers all sorts of options. So you can, it's a consignable pattern, so you can also make it longer, you can make it cropped, you can make it with a lace neck, you can make it with a lace armhole, lace ribbing hem, or you can do 2x2 rib, whatever you want. So I basically went, because I'm pretty straightforward and boring, I went with one of my yarns. Look at this, I love this colour. And I did a 2x2 rib. So what you do is you actually start off at the shoulder, and then you start increasing, and then you keep increasing until you get to a certain point, and then you knit straight, increasing again on the one side, and then you repeat the same on the other side, and you join it in the middle, and then you join it at the back. And then after that you're knitting the back, then you're knitting the front. And then once you get to the bottom of the armhole, you're then knitting in the round. And once you knit in the round, you start doing this mock seam, which is quite nice. And then you end up, I chose to do a 2x2 rib. So let me just pop this on and you can have a little look. I mean, unfortunately I'm wearing black, so I don't know how well the blue will show up there, but we'll have a little look. So here it is. So you can have it loosely fitting, and you can have it tighter. What do they call that? Positive ease, negative ease, whatever. I mean, honestly, I just don't even get all that stuff. I just knit it the way I want it to be, and this is fitting quite well. Let me stand back and see if I can get the whole thing in there. Really like it. So that yarn is this yarn that I made, and I really like it. It's a beautiful blue. That's it in a little cake. Yeah, so I love that. Anyway, so that is the garn vest, and once I'd knitted that, I thought, you know what, I need to knit another little sample. So after that, I knitted the same vest, but in this colour. So it's a much bigger size, and it's very oversized for me. It's really big, but I don't know if you can see it. I don't even think that colour's very true, but anyway. And these were knit on a 5.5 and a 6mm needle. So this one took about 300 grams of yarn, and this one took just over 400. So I was very happy with those. And yeah, so that is my garn vest. Okay, the next thing I want to talk about is my Uti vest. So the Uti vest is an outdoor garment, and it's made out of plotuloppi, which is an Icelandic yarn, which is unspun. And I started this well over a year ago, and I finished it a couple of months ago, and I've worn it quite a bit. So I'll explain a little bit about it now. I'll actually pop it on and then I'll explain it, so you'll see. I actually love it. And I'm in a bit of a quandary really, because I know what I should be doing, but what I should be doing and what I'm going to do, that's probably two completely different things. Alright, now with the Utivist, I actually started it off, you started off at the back. Let me show you. I'm going to show you this. You started off at the back and you do some short row shaping to make this little dip down at the back, and then you're knitting it in the round with a little bit of a knitting it in the round so that you have this piece here for steeking, and when you've steeked it you're going to put a zip in there. I've got some markers here for the pockets that go in here, and it went round and round and round, and then once I got to the yoke, you sort of do the colour work in the yoke, then I did the sleeves, did the other sleeve, and then I knitted up the back of the hood. There was meant to be a little flower at the back here, but I did not like the flower, so I ignored the flower completely, but the shaping ends up with this beautiful little peak. So I haven't actually steamed it or done anything, but I have worn it outside, and I can tell you that peak works well. So it warms you over your ears, and it is, honestly, it's just such a lovely garment. And people think that Icelandic wool is really itchy, but I do not find it itchy. So when Roger had his 60th, we went up north to Pie with 4 of our children. In fact, all 4 boys, and I took this with me, and it was really just a super garment. So despite the fact that it was spring, and I know you look at this and you think, oh gee, that's going to be like middle of winter in northern Scandinavia, it actually was really comfortable and I loved it. And I was thinking to myself, am I actually going to do anything else with this? I mean, look at it, color works beautiful, fits nicely here, does everything I want. Do I need to actually put a zip in? Well, I wasn't going to do that, but then who did I talk to? I can't even remember who I talked to. Oh, Judy, my lovely friend Judy, and she said to me, nope, you need to put a zip in. So I will do that. I will steek it and show you it's steeked, and I will put the little pockets in over here, and then I will show you what it looks like at the end of that. But in terms of knitting, I actually have finished the Utivist, so I'm pretty proud of that. I feel like this is actually a little practice run, and I'm going to do another one longer, because this does not, for me as a jacket, cover my bottom the way I'd like it to, but I do love it so much. So yeah, this is my Utivist. Thank you. I love it so much. Alright, so I did the Utivist, and I'm sure I told you that my daughter Claire Marie was making a flax. So Tin Can Knits have this absolutely fabulous app. Hang on a seckie. They have a fabulous app, and on this app what you can do is you pick a pattern, you pick your size, you pick the yarn you want to do, and then it literally takes you through every step of the process. And so for a beginner knitter, you can actually click on little points which show you how to do short row knitting, short row shaping I mean. It literally shows you all the different bits and pieces. And she knitted herself a green out of my yarn, beautiful flax, and you know, I was just so happy for her, because when she finished it she was so proud, and it looks absolutely gorgeous on her. I'm going to put a couple of pictures in, but I must say that actually those pictures do not show the green, which I didn't even have here because I gave her all the green. It's sort of like, let's have a little look. Oops. I'm going to end up taking, oh, it's sort of like this green, but a bit darker, more of a forest green. And she did such a good job with that little jersey. I was so proud of her at the end of it. And it's so funny because she said to me, "Mum, I've made a mistake on the sleeve and I've done, you know, 2 of one particular row and I'm not going to undo it." And I was like, "Clemmy, just ignore it. Don't worry about it." And and then I went on to knit myself a flax. So let me just show you my flax. This is my yarn, which I obviously spun myself. So it's not, you know, I know it's not a 4-ply. Sorry. It's mine. It's not a 4-ply, but I'm going to show you this on. I'm quite proud of it, but I'm even more proud of the fact that the 2 of us have made the same mistake, and so we're like little twins with our little mistake. All right, so here we are. And to show you, it's a little crop top, tin can knits, flax top. So if you actually get the little Tin Can Knits app, you'll be able to knit something like this. So I want to show you, where is that? Where is my mistake? Is it this side? I hope it's this side. Yeah, there it is. I did 2 knit rows instead of a knit purl row, and Clemmy said to me, she said, "Oh Mum, when I saw that I was like and I was like, Clemmy, I'm keeping this. I'm keeping it because we both made the same mistake and it doesn't even matter. I still love it. This is the whole thing and I really enjoy it, and I can tell that come next winter I will get a lot of use out of it. What I must say is I did do something different, typical me. I started off in the same way as the pattern. It starts off at the top and then you end up with this garter stitch sort of detail. But when you separate for the arms, they actually do shaping down to the cuffs, and I didn't want to do that. I really like a little puff sleeve, and so what I did was I knitted straight until I got to the cuff, and then I knitted 2 together all the way around the cuff, and then I did the rib of the cuff, and that gave me a little puff sleeve, which is just up my alley. So it's a slight variation of the flax. Clemry was very good, and she actually followed the pattern properly, and hers is a much more shaped version on the sleeve. But yeah, I've got this little puff cuff. So that's that. That's my flax. And I can honestly, I can highly recommend the Tin Can Knits app. They have a variety of patterns. This is actually a free pattern, but you can get paid patterns, and you can actually put in your size, your yarn, and it basically sets out every single little thing for you and makes the job very easy to follow the pattern. The reasons why I haven't been able to do a lot of knitting is it's spring in New Zealand, and in spring I literally am very acutely aware that if I want to get any gardening done, if I want to get any veggies in the garden, I need to do it now. And so I started planting some seeds. I was preparing seed beds by double digging them and putting in some special stuff that I'd read about on a permaculture site, and that really took time. It takes a lot of time to get those things done, and I just don't have the energy I used to have, so it did take me a lot longer to do than it would have taken me a few years ago. So that's my flax top, and I'm very happy with it. I'm actually going to keep it on because even though it's spring, today is not the warmest of days. It's been raining all day. So I'll talk a little bit about the mill. So I know that last time I think I talked about when my cousin came and we went through lots of cleaning and processing, and he sort of showed me about the mill equipment. But I have had a little practice with putting some more fleece and fibre through the mill. But I sort of kind of reached this point of that I needed to get as much moved down into the mill and away from the house as possible. And I sort of dug my heels in a little bit, and I was really clear I don't want to do the washing at the top. I want to be able to utilize the rainwater from the roof, and I want to get a wash station put in. I need to get my caliphant put in to heat the water. The water by the house is not warm enough. I've used my little laser checker, and it's like 54 degrees. It's meant to be 70 plus degrees Celsius, and it's not getting to those temperatures. So I was really clear. I need to get a wash station put in. So for my birthday, I bought myself 2 sinks. I need to get the caliphant put in. That means lining the room, putting electrics in, and finding out where the water can go once it's gone through the washing process. So that has taken a lot of time and a lot of energy, and to be perfectly honest, we're like literally 2 months later and none of that is actually sorted. Roger's definitely made a bit of a difference in terms of trying to move it forward, and his friend has been helping him, Andreas. But I'm at the point now that I've actually just got to suck it up, spend some more money, and you know, when you're looking at the amount of money that we've spent already, it's breathtaking, really. I've just got to do it. Just got to suck it up. Anyway, so I'm at that point now where I am going to get the plumber to come. I'm going to find a builder from somewhere to help me out with that. Even though I've got an ex-builder in the family, I'm just aware that he's got a busy life, and the last thing he wants to do is help his mother put this stuff in. So I've just got to find people that are going to be able to help me with that. What happened was, a couple of weeks ago, my friend Judy, she messaged me and she said to me, oh, there's somebody selling some dye. And I was like, oh, okay, I could do with a bit of dye. But when I looked at it, it was a lot of dye. And it was really the sort of base colors that you needed into, you know, like what do they call them? The primary colors. So you could actually mix those colors and make a lot of other colors. And so I talked to Roger and he was like, ding, 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 ding. He was focused on it. And I was like, okay, my limit is $350. Well, Roger's limit was a lot higher than that. So we sat on the auction and we ended up buying all this dye for $1,500. It was a lot of money. But the plan is we'll be able to use it for the mill, and if we want to, we can make some little kits up and sell some bits and pieces off. But one of the best things about buying this dye was we went to meet the guy who sold it to us, and he's doing felt covered soaps, which I'm not going to do, but anyway. And then he asked me about my mill and my carding machine and blah blah blah, and we got onto the carding machine, and then he said to me, oh, who does your servicing on your machine? I said, I don't have anybody. I've been desperately trying to find someone. In fact, I was trying to track somebody down in the Hawke's Bay, could not get hold of this person. And he said, there's somebody who lives locally, the Kaimais, and I'll give you his number. So he gave me his number. I messaged that person and I said, please don't reply today. Today's a public holiday. Just wait till it's a work day. But this is my situation. And honestly, within like 5 minutes, bling, bling, bling. And I was just having a chat with this person. And he is going to come and have a look and try and calibrate my machine so that it cards well and cards properly. So honestly, buying the dyes was worth that well, it was just worth doing to get hold of this person's contact. So I'm just waiting for him to come along and have a little look. When we came back from Raro, I think a couple of weeks after that, I was preparing for a creative fibre weekend. And at that weekend, well, this is the weekend I actually got sick. I got sick halfway through the weekend, but I had created a lot of fibre, and you know, like, I know you've seen bits and pieces, but I want to show you some of the colours that I've done. I'm going to hold them up. These are all different. Hang on a seckie. I mean, I've done more than this, so I'm just showing you some of it. But look here. Look, this is some of the yarn that I've made. I'm actually really proud of that. And I've got to say that when I've been to these creative fiber days, and I went to one last weekend which was a spin-in, the feedback that I've had has been just so generous and kind and so positive about my color blending and stuff like that. So I know that the actual yarn that I'm producing is not perfect like a, you know, something that comes from China, but that's not my goal. My goal is small batch made yarn from fleece that literally would be thrown away, that comes from New Zealand. I mean, this I've mixed with a bit of alpaca, and honestly I feel like if any yarn is a little bit rough, I'm going to mix it with alpaca because I know that that will soften it up. But I do love to blend my colors. That's one color. This is another one I made last week. These are not necessarily colors I would love myself, but they are just so gorgeous, and many people have just made comment about that. So thank you so much for the positive feedback. I do know that if I had a really good base product, I could make a good yarn, because I bought a commercially made sliver or roving, whatever you want to call it, and from that I made this. And this really is, look at it, it's perfect. You could not want better from that. So that is made from a commercial roving. And so I definitely know that I've built up some skills over these last few months. I perhaps haven't perfected all the other aspects, but I think some of that's actually the machinery. And those things will take time, but I will get better. The machinery will get better. I'm going to get much more selective about the product, and I'm going to have fun with the blending. I'm really going to have a lot of fun with the blending, because that's what gives me joy. So, you know, I'm sort of thinking, well, what are my next steps? I know I sort of talked about last time how to move things forward, but I'm really in a bit of a quandary, because sending things overseas from New Zealand is a very costly process. It's not cheap. Making the product, that's, you know, that's one thing in itself, but actually getting it to a person that's happy to buy it, that's another whole process. And, you know, I'm quite daunted. I'm really daunted about that process, and I just don't understand why it's so expensive to send things overseas. I mean, it's crazy. You know, you'd think that they would want you to export products, but no, it's really expensive. And to be honest, I just know that people in the UK, not only are they paying postage, but they're having to pay, you know, import duty. It's ridiculous. I mean, I sent gifts to family and they were like not picking the presents up because it was too expensive. So, yeah, I'm just really at this point of, where am I going to go with this, and what am I going to do? How do I share this as a creative process? Am I just sharing my product? Am I sharing my experience? Is it a combination of all of those things? Really don't know, but you know, I'm just at the moment just recording this, and like I say, I want to do this for myself. I want to record it for my grandchildren. And just, it helps me stay focused. It helps me realize, okay, you've done this, you've done that, but what's going to be next? So I'm not sure what's going to be next, but I just really want to say thank you so much. Thank you for your messages. I've had emails from people giving me advice. I may not have written back. I may not have taken that advice yet, but it's definitely there, and I've taken it on board, and at some point I will address that and I will use it. So the big things in my life now are perfecting my use of the mill, so I can make a chunky yarn. I know I can make a nice chunky yarn, but I want to be able to make a finer product. And so that's what I've been doing the last couple of weeks, is actually practicing making something that's not as thick as this, because let's face it, most people are wanting a 4-ply to an 8-ply. I don't know that I'm going to do I don't know that I'm going to do a 4-ply, but I could probably get to an 8-ply and be comfortable with that. I also want to use my felt loom. I don't want to have a lot of waste product, and you know, I just not sure where it's going to go from there. But at the end of the day, I have had so much fun. I really have had so much fun getting to this point, and I've really balanced that with all the difficulties that I've had in this last year. And I can tell you, I've had stuff going on I can't even talk about here, but I've had stuff going on that have been challenges, but at the other end of that, I've also had positive and creative, I think that's the word, and forward-thinking things. So I'm not sure where this is going to go, but I so want to thank you so much for coming along on this journey with me. I hope it hasn't been boring. You know, I've been thinking about Patreon. I've been thinking about going down to the mill more and focusing on that. I've got no idea what people really enjoy in this whole process. I mean, I know when I watch podcasts, it's not just the knitting, because actually sometimes I'm like, beep, fast forward. I'm getting to the bits that I enjoy, and you know, maybe that's different for everybody. I don't know. But at the end of the day, I feel very blessed to have the mill and to have the time to unwind from all these years of working and to work towards a more creative life. So, you know, I just hope that everybody is feeling well and safe, and thank you so much. Thank you for coming along here. I'm just going to finish off now because I don't even know what else to say. So take care. Bye-bye.